What's up, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of the What Offseason podcast. I am your host, Jimmy, also known as Reaper, through all my gaming streams that usually happen on this channel, but we're trying something a little bit different here. With me, my man Eric, or Blitz. As you can see, you can get a hold of us on Twitter at the links, or not links, but the handles provided. So what we're going to be doing... I love this time of year. I have always liked what teams have to go through to put together winning franchises for the NFL. I love the draft. I love free agency. I just like seeing it all come together. So it's some of my favorite times of the year when we get to watch this happen as fans. Obviously I love watching my team play every week, but as a Jets fan, I'm usually pissed off by week 3, so don't really have
Sure.
This is where I get to have most of my fun, because as of right now, I mean, we can win the Super Bowl. We can do it.
Everybody's got a shot right now.
Absolutely. Eric, what's going on, man?
Just chilling, man. Just chilling. Excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you for doing this. I know you do a regular season type of a podcast. We didn't really do a whole lot of it this year, but
that's going to change this year. It's going to be every fucking week for sure, because we all have the setups now to do it.
Right.
So
it was a tough thing. Like, me and Eric, we stream our video games and stuff from our console, from our PlayStation. Both of us now have PCs, so we were able to do this really cool stuff that you see on the screen, all the logos, all the overlays, all the this and that. We're actually able to put that all together now. So a lot more just different content, everything coming along. So what we're going to do, we're going to go through a few topics that I have put together for this off season. We'll just go through that one by one. Go ahead. You guys throw out some questions in the chat if you have any questions or what you want opinions on. If you have predictions, whatever the case may be, go ahead and throw them in the chat. We will have a chat Q&A towards the end of this deal. So, coming into some of the topics that I've had, I know, Eric, you're a Patriots fan. So like I was talking about earlier, you guys never really have to do the dance. You guys are never in those top 5 picks for the draft. So you've never had to like get into the nitty gritty of how, trade spots or spot trades happen, or how, who needs to get what, or like some of the little things that go on during the course of an off season that lead up to the draft that can just like something that you may seem like a small comment could influence, tens of millions of dollars in trades. You know what I mean? And like, right. Patriots don't really ever have to do that. You guys just pick whoever rolls in at number 29 through 32 and kind of move on from there. But in 2019, the big story would be the crop of quarterbacks. It's definitely not what it was last year. Last year there was a few, obviously Sam Darnold right here with the Jets. You got Josh Rosen at Arizona. You got Josh Allen in Buffalo. Baker Mayfield in Cleveland. Who's that? Was that Lamar Jackson? Where did he go?
Yeah, in Baltimore.
Yeah. You didn't hear a lot about him. However, he was the only rookie quarterback to make it to the playoffs, right? Baltimore made the playoffs.
Yes.
So he's the only. Yeah, I think they got wild card, but they lost.
I think so. Right.
I'm pretty sure because I've had this discussion. Right. I've had this discussion about it, and people were talking shit about Lamar Jackson, and I'm like, I mean, the guy started most of his games, and you can't really talk crap about the only rookie quarterback to make it to the playoffs that year.
True.
So, but this year has been lacking. There's probably maybe three quarterbacks that are, and none of them are on the caliber of the quarterbacks from last year. except for one, and that would be Kyler Murray. And now, you've heard about this guy? A lot of the stuff that's been going on with him.
A little bit.
So
Sure,
Kyler Murray
enlighten me.
he's a professional baseball player, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he's already got what was it, like a $20 million contract, and there were a shitload of bonuses and stuff like that he qualified for with his contract with the Athletics. He decided to go into the draft. He gave back all the bonus money, but he still has a valid contract with the Athletics. And going into the combine, Mel Kiper and all these guys were talking about there wasn't even a quarterback that they thought would go in the top 10.
Right.
And all of a sudden, Kyler Murray just explodes at the combine. I don't remember his combine numbers, but he did good. Now there's a consensus between analysts that say Kyler Murray is going to go number 1 to Arizona.
Yeah.
So that is a huge shakeup on what was primarily a defensive top 5 minimum. Nick Bosa, Quinnen Williams, Josh Allen, not the quarterback Josh Allen, different Josh Allen.
Right.
And Rashawn Gary. Is that his name?
Stud out of Michigan.
He is pretty badass. I watched a little bit of game tape. But that just shakes up quite a bit. Because you have teams like Oakland. You got Derek Carr in Oakland. Gruden has been talking about Kyler Murray. So that could mean Derek Carr is gone, done in Oakland. So there's a lot of shakeup happening in those top 4 spots, which also means those mid-tier teams, those mid-first rounders, there's a lot of shakeups going on there as well. So now with Kyler Murray they're talking about him going number 1. Who else needs a quarterback? I know Bortles is done in Jacksonville because they just signed Foles.
Yeah.
So that's one that they're at the very least, Jacksonville is banking on Nick Foles being their starter for the next year or two. Like they're not looking for a quarterback anymore.
Yeah.
So
I kind of feel like Tampa kind of needs one. They can't decide whether they want Fitzmagic or what's his face? I can't even think of his name right now. I see his face, but I can't think of his name.
That was another young guy, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's a couple years in, maybe 3rd year coming up, maybe 4th coming up. I don't remember. What the fuck is his name?
Oh, man. Now you got me wondering.
Probably get faster. Figure out. Still fumbling with the crossover to the multiple monitors. Yeah, he can't stay healthy. And yeah, they just can't decide what quarterback they want to do.
Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston. Yes, sir. That's it.
Here's the problem. Like the Bucks they definitely need somebody. They're not going to trade up to number 1, so that leaves Dwayne Haskins from Oklahoma State as probably the next potential. If Arizona is going to take a quarterback, that means Josh Rosen's gone.
Right.
But the problem with the Bucks, dude, is when you have Jameis Winston who could be a stud, he just can't stay healthy, versus Ryan Fitzpatrick, who is only a stud up until he gets signed and gets paid, and then he's a pile of trash.
Yeah.
I know this for a fact because we've seen it in New York. Like, that's tough. Like, eventually you gotta cut them both. You gotta cut them both.
Gotta cut the guys.
Get rid of it. Like, your guy's not gonna, Winston's not gonna help you if he's sitting on the bench because he broke a leg.
Right.
So that's not the avenue you want to travel. I mean, the Jets are in the same position with Quincy Enunwa. Quincy, like, I love him, But I swear to God, if he gets injured again, I want him off the team because it's 3 years in a row that he's like had season-ending injuries. And we just gave him like another 3 or 4 year contract extension for like $8 million, whatever the contract was. But I would hope that they put medical terminology in there. So that's,
who knows.
The Bucks. I agree. Something needs to happen there. Where are they right now?
Probably pretty close to the bottom. Oh, you're talking about draft pick?
Yeah.
I have no clue.
So the Buccaneers are 5th.
Not bad.
Well, if Arizona takes why am I blanking on his name? Kyler Murray. If they take him, then you got Dwayne Haskins out of Oklahoma State. That's the only other really viable quarterback that could be a franchise player. This year, as far as the quarterback goes. Buccaneers have to be nervous about Oakland because even if Oakland, I don't think Oakland's going to jump on Haskins. So I think Oakland takes an edge rusher to replace.
Yeah, I would think. Man, I don't know. It's a tough call as far as Oakland's quarterback and Carr because, man, when he's playing good, he's out. He's lights out. But man, there's just questionable injuries and then everybody came back from that first injury. He just wasn't the same quarterback. So
yeah. Well, and Gruden always likes his old quarterbacks.
Yeah.
He was like that with Rich Gannon back in the day, yeah. He just loves old quarterbacks, and I don't understand why. I'm not a fan. But I guess it is what it is. But Oakland's got 3 first-round draft picks. So I don't see them using their number 4 on a quarterback they don't want. So right. I think if Kyler Murray's gone, that's the only one that Gruden's even been talking about. So I think if Kyler Murray's gone, then they just take an edge rusher to replace Khalil Mack. I think that's it. And then I would see another Raider pick to replace Amari Cooper in the first round.
Right.
So I think they choose. If Kyler Murray is available at 4, they take him. If he's not, then they just replace the 2 elite players that Gruden traded out.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Sounds like a sensible plan.
And that leads us into a lot of like what these kids have been blowing up the combine. DK Metcalf at receiver has been huge. He had a kind of a substandard 3-cone drill. But his explosiveness, he's got a 40.5 vertical. He ran a 4.340. He did 27 reps on the bench press as a wide receiver. Like the next wide receiver did 13 or 14 or something like that.
Ain't nobody the whole team's going to gang tackle him. He's just going to be like, get the fuck off, man.
Yeah, dude. Like, if you see, I sent a picture. You saw this guy.
Yeah, he's going to be like those videos you see on Facebook of like these 8-year-olds that are like 7 foot tall and 300 pounds, and the other kids can't stop him. That's how that's going to work out.
But see, the thing is, and that kind of leads me in, like, especially with the DK Metcalf, is do you look at combine numbers or do you look at game tape? Like, which one is it? Like, do you feel like it's a mix? Like,
to me, in my personal opinion, it would be all game tape. I mean, sure, you're fast. You're gonna get. I don't know. I guess to me, the draft and the combine is more of a. I don't know how to say it. More of a, like, all right, we've seen him in game and he's fast,
Right.
But now we know, holy shit, he's really fast, I guess.
So combine like a solidifying factor.
yeah, like a solidifying stat
Okay.
almost to me anyway. And I would, I don't think if I was in that position as an owner or whatever makes the call on who they draft, um, I wouldn't base my decision off just the combine for
Well, I
anyone.
mean, I don't think any team does, but
And
you
I
get
don't think that it would change my opinion. Okay, so this guy, he couldn't jump as high as we thought he could, or he wasn't quite as fast as we thought he was. But I mean,
but you're looking at
to me, game tape shows
I agree.
your
I
potential
I would agree
and where you're
because I
at.
mean, you have they put so much pressure on these kids at the combine, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
they
it's a
like you
big
get
fucking
invited.
spectacle.
You get like invited to this thing. Like not even every player who thinks they're going to go in the draft is actually going to the combine. You have to be invited.
Right.
And then you have every freaking NFL coach and assistant coach and coordinator and every general manager. Like all of these guys are there.
To
Every
watch
single one of them has a
you.
notebook. And
Yeah.
every step you take, every syllable you utter in the interviews, everything is just dissected and scrutinized and reviewed 1,000 times. They'll take your 40-yard time and they'll slow it down to 1,000 frames per second. And they're like, oh, see, he fucking touched that blade of grass. That's why it slowed him down from a 4.3 to a
Right.
4.4.
For sure.
And I just think that the smart people that are out there are looking for. I don't even think, to be honest, it's about like for me, it's not about DK Metcalf ran a 4.33. That's not about that, right? For
Right.
me, it's about the entire world. Their eyes are on you now, right now, this second. Can you perform at the best of your ability at will? Can you do it
Right.
at the biggest stage under the most pressure? So that's what I think. How I
That
kind of
makes sense.
look at the combine. Um, in which case, DK Metcalf as a receiver, I would say is probably. Uh, honestly, he could probably fall to 18, 19.
Think
Because
so?
I think so. Because you watch his game tape and he's just. I feel like his size and speed, you don't see it in the game film. Like
Right.
it's there, but you don't. When he's up against other players, you just don't see it. So obviously, yeah, sure, it gets highlighted. It gets highlighted in the combine because like he's the only one running right then and there.
Right.
Um, he catches the ball phenomenally. Like he's got great hands. It's the route running, man. It's the route running. I think a receiver doesn't go top 10 if he can't run perfect routes 100% of the time.
Right.
So you're looking. I'm thinking a mid to low mid first round for DK Metcalf. But because of his size and his speed, what about like because he went to Ole Miss, so he's an SEC player. How do you think schools factor in?
Honestly, I mean, I don't think it's really that big of a deal.
Really?
Honestly, I mean, you look at like Aaron Rodgers. He came out of fucking Podunk Valley. I don't know I don't remember, but was it San Diego Valley or something like that? I mean, some of these quarterbacks
Tom
are
Brady,
players.
he was Michigan, but
Yeah, but I mean, some of these players they come from a school you haven't even fucking heard of. 9 times out of 10, you know.
so
So
as
I
far
don't think
as
it's too big of a deal. I mean, I think if you're having a phenomenal collegiate career and you're in somewhat of the national spotlight, I don't think it matters.
right, I think it could work against you coming from a smaller school.
A little bit, it could,
Um,
because you're not playing the level of competition
right,
as as the Power Five conferences.
sure. So like
So
you could look like a Jerry Rice or a Tom Brady or You know, what a Khalil Mack. You can look like that caliber of a player for like I mean I live in Idaho, so I'm a Boise State fan. So like we have players. Alexander Madison is a perfect example. Running back. You look at him on the field on the blue against the teams that we play, and he looks like a beast. Like he looks like I would have to question whether I wanted him or Le'Veon Bell. Like he looks
Right.
that way. But then at the combine, he runs like a 4.7 40, and he just it was very very basic compared to like the other running backs and stuff like that were competing. But so I just think like it could be good, it could get you noticed, but it can also if the true talent, if the raw natural talent isn't there and you just look better because you're playing against shit defenses or shit competition, then it could really hurt you, I think.
Yeah, and that's something that they would find out very, very quickly,
Yeah.
either in practice or preseason, and get into the games and stuff. And
Right.
this
And
guy's getting
that's
mauled over.
yeah, for real. For real. I don't see Madison being anywhere in he'll probably be if he gets drafted, it'll probably be 5th or 6th round, maybe undrafted, who knows. But he's a good running back. I just don't think he's an elite first rounder. He's not even a day 2 guy in my opinion after watching what he's done. But that's like talking about players like that and talking about like even Kyler Murray, you know what I mean? Because the other quarterback that really kind of threw a wrench into the works for this year's draft was um what was it? Justin Herbert from Oregon. He's said to be the best quarterback still in college right now, and he just finished his junior year, decided to stay in Oregon for his senior year. Now, when should a player come out?
My opinion, I don't see why. I mean, I know it's obviously all personal preference on that player and stuff, but I don't see why they don't run the full collegiate. Run your 4 or 5 years, get your fucking degree, because if you get hurt, what are you gonna fucking do then? You know, especially if you're young and you're
I
not really
mean,
getting paid and you haven't had a chance to, you know, prove yourself to get that, top tier NFL player money,
mm-hmm.
and you're getting that rookie contract, and then you get, I don't know, something happens and you can't play football ever again. Then what? You're fucked. Gotta go
I
work at
mean,
McDonald's.
but you got to think, you got millions coming to you. It's not like you can't. If you got hurt, it's not like you couldn't go back to school.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I guess to me it just comes down to what is it that you as a player want, right? Are you wanting football? Do you feel you have the ability, and are you wanting football to be your career? If you want football to be your career and you have the ability, then you have to put yourself in the best possible position to get yourself the best possible dollars, the best possible contract, whatever. You have to
Right.
put yourself in that position to do so. I forget who it was. This was years and years ago, but because again, the off season is like my favorite time of year. So I pay attention to people and I pay attention to the
I
analysts
haven't
in the off season.
cheered for regular season.
Anyway, my point is one of the draft analysts was saying you have to talk to because you can't hire an agent, you can't hire when you're in college, you can't do any of that. That'll professionalize yourself, and then you're not eligible to play college.
Right.
But he says you are allowed to find out where teams are seeing you as a player, and if you're projected, if you have a consensus and you're projected to go high first round, there is no reason whatsoever to stay in college for your senior year. Too many things can go wrong in college the only place your draft stock can go is down. The farther down you drop, the more money you're sacrificing just like almost daily. almost
Right.
daily. So if this is the career path that you're choosing, I mean, and look at any other job. Like, I'm not gonna, if I have the experience to come in a manager position, right? I'm not gonna waste that opportunity and come in at entry level.
Right.
So it's just
Makes sense.
you got to think about like that aspect of it, the business aspect of it. So I think it just depends on the player, but there's also no reason that hell, I mean, he's going to be an NFL player. It's not like he could be in his career and he could finish school in his off seasons. You know what I mean?
You do have a point.
You could take a couple classes and just do whatever you wanted. Like it's not that big of a deal in my anymore. Probably, you know what? 20 years ago, sure. I totally agree. Like it was more extremely more competitive than it is today in like the not football but in like the private sector in the real world.
Yeah.
So now it's I don't know. That's just kind of where I'm thinking about it. What about do you agree with the rule, the 3 years out of high school for the NFL?
No, I can't say that I could. I think that what I said as far as collegiate that applies more to high schoolers. I
Mm-hmm.
probably need to have that G, at least the GED. The again, if something happens and you can't play football again, especially at that level, what are you gonna do?
Right.
You can't play football. So you're gonna have to get either a Joe Schmo factory job or something, make ends meet. So I think if that at high school level, they should definitely have to complete um the whole 4 years.
Sure. No, no, no. And I mean, like, you have to obviously you have to graduate high school, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about the NFL has a rule after high school, you cannot come to the NFL for 3 years.
Okay.
Like that's an
All right,
actual
that's
rule.
fine. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah. So you're saying they can't?
Yeah. So
They have to have
like
3 years college game. They have to at least
they
play through
don't
their junior year.
necessarily have to play college ball, but it doesn't state that in the rules. But you're not going to
Right.
get an NFL team that's going to take a player that's 21 years old that's never
Right.
played college football. But
Right.
it's just a question as compared because it's kind of been a debate for like you get the NBA right. The NBA's you can get drafted right out of high school right when you're 18.
Yeah.
Um, it happened with
LeBron.
LeBron. It worked out for him. Good for
Yeah.
him, right? But how many people does it not work out for?
Yeah.
And
That ratio's like talking 2 billion to one or some
oh,
shit
for
like
sure,
that.
for sure.
Something stupid like that. So.
And I just think that it's for football it makes sense because basketball I think there's a less of a skill gap to be completely frank. I think there's less of a skill gap between the ages. You know what I mean? So like I think an 18-year-old has a very good chance to be just as badass in basketball as a player that's been in the NBA for 5 years,
Yeah.
you know. But I think it's different for football. And I don't think you can say a high school player can come immediately out of his senior year of high school and jump into the NFL and be competitive. I don't
No.
think that's possible.
No. No. Not at all. There's just too much in football. There's like just too much. I mean, the playbook, reading defense. I guess if you're a quarterback, reading defenses, knowing to do this or that.
Sure.
There's just
You got
so
11
much you have to learn.
you got 11 people that are attempting to kill and this is like you talk about like a quarterback perspective, you know. And you got 11 people that are coming after you. You have to learn how to read if they're pushing more weight on their inside or outside foot. You have to know, what if his knuckles are wide on the line? You have to know Like it's like you said, there's just 1,000 times more things that go into being a professional football player.
Yeah.
So I think that you need to have that buffer. And obviously, the only real legitimate avenue is through college football. The odds are astronomical that you actually make it to the NFL if you don't play college ball. Like it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, for sure.
So I just think with all of the quarterback stuff that's been going on, I think draft spot trades was another aspect of this that I think we were going to cover, but there's really not a whole lot. I think if Arizona could screw this up for everybody right now.
And they screw up everything.
They just it's awful. It's just it's fucking Arizona just ruining everything for everybody. So yeah, I just think I don't see the only way I see a trade up happening is if Arizona does not take Kyler Murray. They don't.
Yeah.
If Arizona takes Kyler Murray, you're just going to see everybody just pick the best player when it's on their board when time comes.
But show.
On to free agency. Who do you think the top free agents are?
Minus him being a little bitch, AB. Minus him being a douchebag. I mean,
we'll be talking about him.
Yeah, I don't want to dig deep into that, but it's hard not to want him on your team. But at the same time, you want that much drama. I mean, I guess a lot of teams are invested in like Ocho Cinco or T.O., drama players like that. So I guess but it just sounds to me that like he wants to leave Pittsburgh, but he wants to go where he wants to go, not where they're willing to trade him. Because I mean, obviously I don't know if you've seen the comment that he said after the Buffalo deal went south, but he's like he wasn't going to freeze his ass off and to go 3-13 or some shit like that,
Oh, Billy, if you're watching, I'm sorry, but he's right.
He's 100% right. I wouldn't want to do the same thing either, but fuck, man. I mean, that's I don't know.
See, here's the thing. You mentioned Ocho Cinco. You mentioned T.O. The thing about those guys is they had attitudes, but when they put the uniform on, when they put the jersey on, when they put the helmet on, they were a player.
Yeah, they were all business.
All business, dude. All business. And their business was winning games. And that's what they did. Now, yes, they were assholes. So was Randy Moss. So, like I can go down the line. But there's just something different about Antonio Brown with his attitude. And he proved it with Buffalo.
I think half of it, though, is really his mustache, man. He looks like a fucking complete tool with that blonde mustache. For real.
Red and gold, or blue and gold hair.
He's like, get the fuck out of here, you fucking. Go join the circus down the street.
Fuck's sake, man. He looks like he just got out of his audition for the next Austin Powers movie.
Something, man. Jeez.
Ridiculous, bro. But that interview, like, he proved it with Buffalo, right? Because in the interview he says, almost a direct quote, word for word, but he said, "I don't need football." He goes, "If they want me to play, they're going to play by my rules."
Yeah.
So that was his message to any team potentially that was going to be signing him, and he proved that with Buffalo. Like he refused. He threw a fit. He complained. He cried. And Buffalo backed out because Buffalo knew that if they would have pushed that trade through and he would have came, he would have either sat out like LeVeon did,
yep,
or he would have done something to sabotage it. And so in my opinion, he just devalued himself by millions.
for sure.
by
I man,
millions.
when someone says something like that, as great as they can be, man, you really shoot yourself on the foot there. I think
100%. If you're
players are going to be like,
limiting,
well, if we're starting to lose and we shouldn't be, then what's this guy going to fucking do? You know?
he wants to
So
go to San Francisco, right? Like that's the rumor mill is Antonio Brown wants to go to San Francisco. San Francisco can just sit back. They can just sit back, right? So
yeah,
like,
he could be their first and then really his last option, essentially.
right? They have nobody to compete against. They have nobody to compete against. They are just going to let him keep running his mouth. Oakland the same way. He wouldn't mind either one. I think he wants to be in California, but
It doesn't sound like he wants to be cold anymore.
right. That's he's like 31, dude. He's gonna be 32 next year. Problem is when you eliminate every other place that you don't want to go, like vocally and publicly, like he does. All that does is it drops his value because then San Francisco can be like, all right, I'm going to give you $5 million a year, take it or leave it, and he's like,
You
I'm going
don't
to leave
need
it,
football.
right? He's
Apparently.
like, then he's like, I don't. He's like, I'm going to leave it. Okay, fine. Bye. You're not going to go play anywhere else. Like they're not worried about him going to Buffalo. They're not worried about him going to the Giants. They're not worried about him going to Kansas City. You know what I mean? They don't. None of those teams. He doesn't want them. So
Right. I think he pretty much eliminated his whole upper Northeast options by that comment right there. You know, your Buffalo's, New York's, New England's,
I
maybe
think
even Washington.
I think he ends up in Oakland. He's not going to get what he wants. He's not going to get what he wants.
Going to get what he wants either.
Money wise, he'll get his location, but he's not going to get the money. There's no, especially with somebody like Gruden, like handling that type of a deal. That just no. Gruden he's a smart guy. So he's a smart guy. So he knows that this guy just demolished every other trade offer.
Right.
And
like a good old Chucky.
He's not gonna get bent over a negotiation table for Antonio Brown because he has 3 first-round picks. He can go draft an elite number 1. So Antonio Brown, you don't need football. No other team needs you. Facts. Sorry about your luck.
Wow. Whoa. Breaking news about 2 hours ago. Did you see this?
Which one?
Carlos Hyde signs with Jackson or KC.
No, I didn't.
From Jacksonville. 1 year deal worth $3 million. I got a little more. Yeah, I guess they do need a. There's stuff happened today, man. Our tight end, New England's tight end, Dwayne Allen, is going to Miami for 2 years.
Free agency starts Wednesday, right? Tuesday or Wednesday? Open free agency, that is.
Yeah.
But this is gonna be a huge time of year, and that's. I think some of the free agents that kind of go by the wayside as far as a lot of attention. You know, because you have these LeVeon Bells out there, you have these Antonio Browns, you have Earl Thomas, these guys that are just absorb all this media attention. There's so many good ones like Mark Ingram, Tevin Coleman, Adam Humphries out of Tampa Bay, like so many good players that are solid team players that people could get as a steal.
Yeah.
And I think it's been funny with all the Antonio Brown attention. I think it's been really funny how quiet Le'Veon Bell has been. Have you seen that? Or noticed
Yeah, you haven't heard nothing out of that guy for a long time.
Last thing you heard was his Instagram, his little Instagram video going. He's like, no matter where I go, I'm gonna be ready, all 260 pounds. Because he was talking shit. Somebody leaked that he was weighing in at 260 pounds. Didn't look like it. He didn't look like it in the video.
He's gonna be the next fucking what's his face?
I don't know.
That guy.
Oh, that guy. I know that guy.
Motherfuck! He got fat as shit. Running back. Older guy. Been bounced around. Last time I think he played was Oakland. Fuck, what the fuck is his name?
From how long ago?
Not too long ago. I mean, I think he still plays. I think he's retired yet. And he's not that old.
Still playing?
God damn it, what's his name? Is it Beast Mode? Is that his nickname?
Oh, Marshawn?
Yeah, Marshawn Lynch. That's it. That guy.
Marshawn Lynch did get fat.
Yeah.
Like, I'm fat, so I know how to tell. I can tell. I can tell fat people. And he boom, blew up.
Yeah.
And not in a good way. He probably dicked off his last. He could have had 3 extra years at top tier play, but it looks like he just got a little lazy. As far as Bell goes, that I have a very sneaking suspicion that he's going to end up in New York.
I don't know.
I don't see it going any other way because I don't want it. I'd rather have Tevin Coleman from Atlanta. But I have a really strong feeling that we're going to get LeVeon Bell. Guy wants $25 million a year for the first 2 years, man. $50 million in 2 years. That's ridiculous, dude. I don't doubt Le'Veon Bell's abilities. I don't doubt his loyalty to a team. I don't doubt any of that. Right? I think he's the best running back in the NFL, but the running back position is not worth that money. It's not worth what he wants. The position itself is very devalued. Like, I would not, if I was running a team, I would not pay an elite running back more than $10 million a year. That's like at the very highest. And I know your coach feels the same way as I do. Belichick don't pay running back shit.
Yeah, because it doesn't. All right.
Yeah. He's got his core. He's got his trenches set. And even your mediocre running backs can look like studs behind that line.
Nazi.
But that raises a lot of questions. Why does Wisebot keep changing my...
I did it.
Oh, okay.
Well, Shock had said something in the admin chat about changing category. Talk shows, podcast category.
Fair enough.
Over there.
But what is going on in Pittsburgh? Like, you got your 2 best players that just straight up mutiny, dude. It can't just be about money. Le'Veon, or not Le'Veon, but Antonio Brown kind of hinted a little bit at it. Mike Tomlin's kind of a down talker. Like, that coach talks down to his players. I don't know how true that is. But if that's the case, I can see where some of the attitude comes from.
Yeah, it's just fucking, I don't know. For whatever reason, the last few years, I mean, it's really fucking came to surface that, you know, there's something going on in Pittsburgh. We just don't know what the fuck it is.
Right. And they've done a really good job of keeping it under wraps aside from Bell and Brown.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's like we touched it all over the season and stuff and on a few podcasts that we did this year. It's just dumpster fire over there. No one knows why. Dumpster fire. Sunday.
Well, I mean, this is the first time that Pittsburgh hasn't made the playoffs since 2013.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's been a few years.
And it just made me grin ear to ear, buddy. I'll tell you that. 'Cause the guy that mouth all season long to me about Pittsburgh, 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 and for them not to make the playoffs just made my fucking day.
Yeah, Lex, Inferno King, Lex.
Lex. Yeah,
he was pretty upset.
I wouldn't doubt it.
They got to do something. Honestly, I think it's a coaching thing. If you're gonna have two of your best players in like this roughly the same time frame, have them just say fuck it, I don't want to play here anymore.
Yeah,
something is wrong. Something is wrong. And I think it's probably I think it's probably something to do with Tomlin. He's like I said, kind of talks down, kind of treats his players a little bit shitty. But I think Tomlin and Ben Roethlisberger have that little relationship going, and I think players just had enough of it.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, that could be some of it. Is like, I mean, these are pretty much grown ass men.
Right.
I don't want them to be talked down to.
Well, that's
at
what
that age.
And that's what
it's
Brown
like, come
said.
on, we're fucking all adults here.
That's what Brown said in his interview. He's like, I'm a grown ass man. I don't know. If it's a Roethlisberger plus Tomlinson issue, I can see it. And they're going to have to figure something out.
Yeah.
At the highest level. And this is a front office decision. This, because you can't lay this on the coach that could be the problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't say, coach, fix this. If you're the problem, that's got to go to the higher ups. They have to be the ones to make a change.
For sure.
And to be honest, you let two Hall of Fame players go over the course of 1.5 seasons. That that doesn't bode too well.
Something's awful fishy up in Pittsburgh. I think it's a matter of time before we find out.
Yeah, I know.
We're like, makes sense.
and guys, as soon as we know, you'll know. Like we'll be going through it on the show as it unfolds. But I think Pittsburgh is going to be that just little side topic of what's the new development out of Pittsburgh? How are we?
Yeah.
I'm waiting for Juju Smith-Schuster to come out and say, like, Mike Tomlin touched him inappropriately or some shit.
Fucking altar boys over here or something.
I don't know how it's gonna work, but something big is gonna go down in Pittsburgh in the next couple months. But that's
only time will tell.
Yeah, I think that's it. You got anything else, man?
As far as Pittsburgh, no, not really. I fucking hate them and they suck.
Drinking beer poolside, only it's hotel poolside.
Nice.
I like hotels.
Like towels? Is that what you said?
Hotels.
Oh, it sounded like you said I like towels.
I mean, a good towel can make or break a shower.
For sure. You gotta feel nice, drying yourself off.
I can't front about that. Eric, we're gonna end this here in just a couple minutes. What is, like, not necessarily draft wise, what is an off-season prediction for you? Let's what is that one kind of under the radar sleeper free agent that you have?
I ain't thought about this. Man, I don't. I just seen that. I don't know. I can't say this is my true pick, but it did pique my interest a little bit. Miami did let go of Danny Amendola. So I know he hasn't done shit in Miami.
Well,
but man, now that I think about that, that's just
Are you thinking
Proves
he,
my he could be that next little slot receiver guy for any fucking team and do well, but man, he hasn't done anything in Miami. But Miami doesn't have shit. I can't say that either. They were pretty fucking close this past year. They were close. They were close. But
they did had to play some fucking Pop Warner football to beat the Patriots, let's be honest, but
yeah, right. Bullshit plays. What it is about my team.
so are you
Get
thinking
beat by the dumb
Amendola
bullshit teams.
are you thinking Amendola back to New England?
I don't not with
Probably
that. I
not.
don't
Not
think
with
so
Edelman.
not with Edelman there still. Edelman's definitely that guy, and I
Yeah.
don't think there's
Yeah,
anybody in the business that can do
Edelman is the
anything that
Wayne Corbett of New
yeah.
England.
I don't think I think honestly Edelman could go anywhere and be that damn good. I don't think it's just the system. But I mean, I don't think there's anybody better at what he does in the league. So
He's a
there's
tough little
not really.
bastard. He is a tough
I
little
think as
bastard.
far as New England, we need that deep threat again. And I mean, I don't know what. I don't know if we've let him. I might have probably missed it. Maybe it already happened. I don't know. I don't know if we let Gordon go or we just suspended him. But we need that deep threat again. I mean, I know Brady can't throw the fucking ball
I
50 yards, but
I know that you guys are. I mean, I guess I don't know, but I would assume this year's draft crop of wide receivers is deep, like deep, man. Like there are legitimately 10 or 12 first round caliber wide receivers coming out this year,
yeah.
and I think you guys might draft that deep threat. So I think that's where it's,
Hopefully.
as far as my sleeper free agent would be Adam Humphries out of Tampa Bay. Because he's that slot receiver. He's that Julian Edelman that could be that Julian Edelman type of player for any team. And I think that's definitely something to keep an eye on. So I mean, we're going to be keeping an eye on all the free agents and stuff like that. As you know, we'll have our weekly predictions and things like that. But we'll keep an eye on it. Anything else?
Nothing
Anything
off the top
that's
of my head, man.
piqued your fancy? I know Trey Flowers. Yeah,
Let's see what happens there.
I really he's probably gonna come. He's probably gonna come to New York. I'm just saying.
Shit in New York.
Anyway, all right, guys, we are gonna shut this thing down for the day. I definitely want to thank everybody for coming out. Eric, thank you for hanging out, talking with me about some sports. We're going to be back probably roughly the same time next week, next Saturday. So we'll go off episode 2. Go ahead and give my man Asylum Blitz a follow on Twitter. You can also
New things happening soon.
You can also check out his Twitch. What's your Twitch?
Asylum Blitz. Everything social media is
All
Asylum
one word.
Blitz.
All
one word, just like you see it on the screen.
Definitely appreciate you coming out.
Forget
All right,
this.
guys. Want to thank you for coming out.
Later, guys.